So this is an introduction to Unit D, which has now been running for 15 years. I'm Melissa Kinnear, and I teach design both in degree and masters at Oxford Brookes University. I'm currently the chairperson of Architecture Sans Frontières UK, whose goal is socially produced, equitable cities. My major focus is to engage in education and training at the interface between design and international development. I'll be co-tutoring with Peter Newton again, who is a director at a 350-strong architecture, urban design and town planning practice. He works on a range of mixed-use regeneration projects. This year, for the first time, we'll be joined by Rob Gocher as our tech tutor. He works at Jessup and Cook Architects, and he's interested in radical approaches to allow for contextually community and socio-economically responsive architecture. The focus of the year will be looking at what a new statecraft is and what it could potentially mean for designers. We'll explore current restrictive practices in society in both Oxford and Nicosia, and develop briefs to awaken a critical consciousness towards emancipation using the transformative practice of philosophy, art, architecture, and politics. We'll be working in both Bond Square in Oxford and in the buffer zone in Nicosia Lefkosa in Cyprus. And we'll be exploring the Cypriot context in depth in week 9 of semester 1, talking to people in the city and reviewing mapping and recorded interviews over that time. We have 2 main projects for the year. The first will be completed before week 9 and is to design a structure for yourselves as activists architects for imagined construction in the summer of 2021 on Bond Square in Oxford. And the main project in Cyprus allows students to develop their own briefs within the unit framework, encouraging students to understand what resilience, resourcefulness, and community-based architectural typologies could be. We've a really well-developed and tested methodology, and we continue to innovate with the digital portfolio format. And our methodology includes a set of tools for students to use in developing their design work and portfolio for the year. And I'm just going to illustrate that with a few previous students' works over the next few slides. So we encourage research into topics which are fundamental to understanding the political and economic context in which we as designers operate, the outcomes of which become sketch notes, capturing the essence of each reading. We aim to understand the historical and wider geopolitical context and clarify that through diagrams and representation. It's important in our unit to understand the city, its evolution through history and cultural changes as this relates to contemporary occupation and life. The effect of culture and society on specific spaces and places is essential in our unit, where conflicting social forces clash and create exclusion or inclusion depending on individuals' affiliation. Through photographs and the curation of these images, students can distill how people interact with their city and what this could expose as a potential project brief. Students attempt to layer as much information as they can onto pages. These drawings become a journal and a form of physical memory of our experiences of the city, both real and virtual. We use photographs of the sites to understand demographics and site usage to support brief development. Students explore site both in static drawings and film, GIFs and 3D CAD modeling, looking at form, atmosphere, materiality, scale, and fabric. And we challenge the status quo of creating architecture from the top down, understanding enabling strategies for construction and project development, giving more power to the users of the projects and creating programs which are adaptable. The projects that result from this framework are unique to each student. We do not have an architectural style or typology that we prefer. We aim to enable students to become the architects that they want to become. And because our unit is focused on the relationship between society, politics, and space, we are focused on project locations where these relationships are more apparent. So, for instance, this project is in Belgrade, and it's a repurposing of the ruin of an existing iconic modernist building in the city, which was bombed out by American cruise missiles to prevent a further escalation of the Balkan War. Rebuilding within the post-disaster earthquake city in Italy, where nobody has been allowed back into their homes, creating a hub for women to become the master builders. Repurposing a historical site into a social enterprise center in Sarajevo, in a country which is stifled by political stagnation since the Balkan War. Adaptation of a derelict city centre building into a cultural hub for reconstruction in Belfast. Building on traditional construction techniques to reconstruct people with nature as a way of building trust and cooperation. Creating a new centre for a liquid democracy, imagining a new political infrastructure for the future. Increasing employability in a centre for activism to provide residents with an inspirational space in which to elevate their skills and encourage political activism. And finally, encouraging cycling through design to tackle issues of overuse of cars poor air quality, lack of parking, and obesity. So we're actually really excited about the opportunities to merge our digital and physical learning experience over the year. So our first meeting will be this week on Thursday, digitally in our space, which you will get the information about. So come join us.